Hello everyone, how's it going? So I've played about 10 hours of Highguard. I have about 85% of the achievements unlocked. So I'm going to give my short impressions on this game and you determine whether it's worth your time or not. So Highguard. Highguard only has one mode. It's called Raid Mode. It's a 3 versus 3 arena shooter. Basically you're plopped onto a map and it's separated into sections. So there are four major sections to each map. The first section is reinforcing your base, where you would place iron onto certain doors and surfaces to reinforce them against enemy attacks. You get 5 to start off in the match, and you can purchase more from the vendors. The vendor will give you the supplies in exchange for Vesper crystals, which you find throughout the map, but more on that later. So what are you defending? You are defending 3 generators. So there are 2 secondary generators, A and B, and then a primary generator called the anchor point. If the anchor point is destroyed, it's game over, that's it. And the other option is the 2 secondary generators. If they're destroyed, that's also game over. The last one is basically if your dome's health bar, which is at 100 points, reaches down to 5 points, all they have to do is break your dome using the shield breaker in order to win the match. But that's more of like a last ditch effort, just like something to just put the enemy player and the enemy team out of its misery and just to capsize the match, because some of these matches can go for 10 minutes to over 50 minutes long. Either way, you're protecting these generators from the enemy team. Now, the second part is gathering resources. Now, you'll gather weapons and armor from various chests. This includes body plates, head plates, saddles to increase the speed of your mount, and weapons. Now, the weapons are separated into rarity, blue, purple, I believe it's yellow or orange, but you know what it looks like, the exotic color. And then finally red. Red is an exclusive weapon that you get from a weapon drop that happens after each raid has concluded. It basically is used to destroy iron doors much more efficiency, and you can use other instead of raid weapons, which are hammers and rocket launchers, which are used to destroy reinforced doors, which are black. But yeah, the weapons are separated into rarity, and each section of a match only gives you access to one set of rarity. So you start with blue, purple, gold, and that's it. The other resource you'll be gathering is Vesper crystals. These are all over the environment. You use a rhythm mini game in order to knock the crystals out, and then you gather them in order to use them at the trader, and you're going to constantly gather this because you constantly need Vesper crystals for armor, for weapons. It's a nuisance, but you constantly have to gather this stuff. And the reason I say that is because armor doesn't work the way that it does in other games. Armor is finite in the way that every time you lose a tier of armor, you lose that point, and you have to constantly gather more armor, or you have to buy more armor plates. And the more rare the armor, the more plates you have to buy. But if you lose all the plates for that higher rank armor, it goes back to the lowest rank armor. So if you have exotic armor and you lose all the plates, you go back to purple, and so on. So you have to constantly buy plates or find plates, and you see what I'm getting at. The grind is just relentless, and you have to constantly be selfish and gather plates for yourself. I'm sure more coordinated teams might share, but for the most part, most players will just hoard whatever they can. Almost no one uses the ping system in order to ping weapons and armor like in Apex Legends or Fortnite. They more or less just take whatever they can, and I can't blame them. The only armor that doesn't need replenishing is the helmet. Once you get a rare helmet, blue, red, whatever, there's no red, but blue, purple, whatever, that's it. You don't need to buy any more of that. As for ammo, ammo's infinite. Well, it says there's a limit to your ammo, but I never ran out of ammo. I doubt anyone's ever run out of ammo. Like, they give you so much, and you get so much from the environment that you literally will never run out. So, ammo is non-existent to the point that even the vendor doesn't sell ammo, so I don't even know why they have it in the game. So yeah, so once you gather your resources, the next part of the match starts, which is the shield breaker. So the shield breaker will spawn in one of 3 spots on the map, regardless of whatever map you play, and there's a 1-minute timer in which it will spawn. Once that happens, the entire teams flock to that position to try and get the shield breaker. Now, death in this game all it does is put you on a respawn timer. The timer is pretty long at 15 seconds, but you don't lose any resources. If you die, you leave down an orb. If the orb is destroyed by the enemy team, you cannot be revived, but if your allies get to the orb, they can revive you. They can also drag you, so there's a reason for the orbs in that sense, but there's really no consequence to dying in that sense. Now, once you get the shield breaker, everyone knows who gets the shield breaker, because there's a giant icon that shows who has it. You're supposed to go to the enemy base and plant the shield breaker into the dome in order to unlock the siege, which is the next part of the match. Now, there are several ways this can happen. The most common is just to rush the base and plunge the sword into the socket. The other option is that once the timer runs out, spawns stop happening. So everyone has indefinite amount of spawns until the timer runs out. Then they get one last spawn, and once they all die, that's it, and the siege automatically happens. Now, you can teleport to the siege point. You can also teleport back to your base, which is, I think it's overpowered, but it's also necessary given the vastness of this map, but I'll get more into that later. But yeah, so you have other options. You don't just have to impale the dome with the shield breaker. You can kill the enemy team until finally the timer runs out. That's an option. I've seen enemy team players just run out the clock because it does give them a tactical advantage, seeing that you have to go there. But everyone knows where the shield breaker is. There's a giant dome that shows where they are, and there's also an indicator on the map, which, by the way, you can't keep the map stationary. So if you're like me and you like it to remain in one situation, you can't. It's dynamic and it freaking sucks. I hate it, but it's also very small, which I also hate, but whatever. This is what they wanted to do. And the icons are just so big. I just don't like the UI for the map. Either way, once you get into the dome, you have to destroy the generators, and if you don't destroy the generators in time, everyone resets, and then it goes back into the same process. The only difference is now there's a weapon drop, which has a rare red weapon, which is a large machine gun, which you can use for offensive or destroying iron doors, which you can also use raid weapons for, but this is more like a special weapon if you want to go get it. A lot of the game is literally just pad in time for you to just get to the siege part. The siege part is the fun part, but everything else is just kind of dead air. Gather the resources, wait for the shield breaker, get the shield breaker, get to the raid part, then just keep repeating the process. Now, you have 4 wardens to choose from. This is what they call their heroes, and they're separated into classes like assault, support, recon, but I don't really know why they have that. It doesn't really matter. Like, each character has 3 abilities. They have a specialized grenade, they have a special tactic like putting up an ice wall like May or stuff like that, and then they have an ultimate ability which you know, does whatever ultimate ability they does, whether it's dealing lots of damage, destroying fortifications, stuff like that. They look okay and they play great. Like, the game's gameplay and shooting is done well. I can't complain about that, but they're just so generic that I really didn't have a favorite. Like, I would just pick whoever was there and whoever's the most powerful, which currently is like Tony Bogard ripoff named Slade, who literally has fire abilities. Oh, he also looks like Ken, so it can be Ken or Tony Bogard, whichever you prefer. Either way, the characters, they're just kind of, they have no unity. Like, there's no common theme. Like, even with Overwatch, despite the characters being drastically different from one another, they all share the same aesthetic. Here, it just feels like they just typed into ChatGPT, make me a fantasy character, and typed in whatever popular game, like Street Fighter and Tekken, or Call of Duty and Final Fantasy. It just feels like that. Like, they just took combinations of other games and mushed them together, and that's your character. Heck, one of the poster boys, Atticus, he doesn't even sound right. Like, I don't know, when his voice plays, maybe it's just me, but his voice sounds weird. It doesn't fit the character model. But yeah, they look fine. Like, I will say that the game's animation is really well done, like, especially the mounts, which you get 4 mounts. You get a panther, a bear, a horse, and an elder griff. But the Elder Griff in particular has no good cosmetics, despite it being the most unique mount. Like, all the other mounts have unique cosmetics linked to them. They're all premium, but at least they look cool. A lot of the premium stuff, yeah, it looks cool, and there are cosmetics you can lock by just playing the game. There are 3 different types of currency. You got the premium one, then you got the one that you get for completing challenges, then you get the one where you complete matches. So there is premium for gold, silver for challenges and purple for completed matches. And there are 2 different stores that you get stuff from. Like the silver one is a rotating store, and the purple one I don't believe is a rotating store, but you know, you can get something there. But the problem I have with the store is that you can only unlock cosmetics currently for Una and Atticus if you don't pay for the premium stuff, which I find very annoying. Like, I wish they had a cosmetic for each of the characters, even if it was just one for people who play for free. I get that this game needs to make back its money, but yeah. But for the game's one mode, I just don't see this lasting long. The first major issue that they have is the game map is just so generic. Like, all of them are the same. They literally just feel the same. Like, yeah, you have different textures, but they all play the same. None of them play different other than slight changes to the layout. And the layouts even suck because the maps are way too big. Like, it can take up to 45 seconds just to get from point A to point B. It reminds me so much of Battlefield 2042 when it first launched, and they did it here. That's the whole reason for the mount. But even then, it's such a grave punishment for you having to travel from point A to point B. And then the other major issue is just the gameplay loop sucks. Like, it's really boring, it's tedious, it's just generic, and it's not satisfying. Like, I feel like I'm not really getting anywhere. Like, at least when you play games that have high levels of grind, they try to keep things dynamic by changing the situation for each map. Whether you play Fortnite, Apex Legends, yes, those are battle royale games, but this game desperately needs some sort of change of situation, some scenario change. Like, heck, even the demolition aspect of this game is like beyond Marvel Rivals. Like, at least with that, you destroy doors, you destroy windows, and everything just changes the map. Here, you can't even destroy the freaking trees. Like, yeah, some of them fall over, but you can't cause them to explode or create little holes like in Battlefield 6. Like, something. Like, they need something here. There's nothing here that's really something that grabs your attention. And since everything remains the same for every single map, it's just boring. Like, humans are naturally going to get bored when they have to experience the same thing over and over. If nothing about the maps change every time you play them other than the player, they're just gonna get bored. Like, even with Battlefield 6, like, despite the destruction not being on par to, like, say, Battlefield 5, they still had that dynamic situation where you can one person could blast a door here, one person could create a hole there. Here, it's just not the same way unless it's a very specific door or ceiling. Like, very exact. It has to be that door, it has to be that ceiling, it has to be that thing. And it's just, like, very whatever. Like, considering the high acclaim this game got from Titanfall developers, from Apex Legends developers, from Call of Duty developers, none of that is here. Like, it just feels so behind on everything. Heck, here's something that, well, this is a lot of things that modern game developers don't do, which is very shocking. Back on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, they had something called a mercenary team deathmatch. Basically, you can get into a match and there would be absolutely no pre-mates. It would just be everyone who just wanted to play a match with no pre-mates, guaranteed. I have never seen that ever replicated in other games. This game desperately needs it because you could get steamrolled by players who are in pre-mates because no one uses the ping system. Barely anyone talks. Like, I don't like using my microphone, but even when I talk, like, they don't listen. And then when you go against a pre-mate team, it really shows that you just get completely trounced. I've been in matches where they would just farm you for kills for challenges because they know they're going to destroy you. And then they will get the anchor point and that'll be it. So this game desperately needs something like that. And it also just needs more modes. I really think that this game could have benefited from a team deathmatch. Like, actually, that would have been great. This game, the characters actually are built for team deathmatch in a lot of ways. But they don't even have that. And ultimately, I don't see this game lasting for the entire year. I think that it's going to go down the hole like X-Defiant. Like, at this point, there are so many other games that are just a better quality, better presentation, better characterization. Like, I said that all these characters look like just mishmashes of other characters from more popular games. Like, there's this character named Condor, who literally just looks like Angerbona from God of War Ragnarok, and like Tony Borgard's knockoff Slade. Like, everyone knows about Bloodhound from Apex Legends, Tracer from Overwatch. Like, they don't have that character. Even the character Atticus, like I said, his voice and his character model just don't match, at least from my perspective. It's just so weird seeing them like that. But, on top of it, with the gameplay loop just being so boring and generic, I just don't see this game lasting the entire year. I'll be surprised if it does, but maybe I'm wrong. There have been crazier things that have happened. Like, but I just don't see it with this game. With other options that are better and more readily available, I just don't see the appeal of this. And I'm not alone, because even though I have crossplay on with this game, and that works well enough, I've been seeing the same names get into my team and fighting against the same other players. Oh yeah, by the way, this is another thing that I just thought of. There's no scoreboard, at least when you're playing the game. The legacy feature is not in this game. And when you get to the final scoreboard of the game, when it's at the end of the match, they don't even have all the statistics. Like, there's no death counter. It's literally just kills, fortifications destroyed, demolition charges planted, like stuff like that, but there's no deaths. I was just like, why don't they show the deaths? Because I would see players on my team who died like clearly 20 times throughout the match. They were the ones holding my team back. They don't show that. I don't get it. Like, what is going on here where we don't show deaths anymore? I just don't see this game surviving. So if you're like me, probably best to get the achievements in right now before things go downhill, because I just don't see this game making a recovery. Because first impressions, especially in the modern gaming age, is everything. Like, if your trailer didn't land and right now your player count is dipping and I'm seeing the same players fighting against them, playing against them, they're on my team, there's something happening here that's not good, because I have never run into that when I play games like Apex Legends or Fortnite or any other free-to-play game. But here I am. I'm seeing it like in 2, 3, 4 matches in a row. That could just be me, but I don't know. Either way, tell me what you think in the comments below about Highguard, how much have you played this game, and I would actually like to know how many people actually stop playing after the first match, because I've been seeing a lot of people say they quit after not even finishing the first match. They just quit mid-match. I would like to know if you did that too, because it seems like a lot of people are doing that, even the sponsored streamers. Like, I saw the clip of Tim the Tatman going viral where one of his teammates was just like, I don't want to play this, man, I'm gone. But we'll see. But those are my impressions of the game. Tell me what you think in the comments below. That's it. Bye.